In 1987, an unassuming beige box landed in millions of European homes, the Amiga 500. Its custom graphics and sound chips blew away the competition, powering legendary games, audio revolutions, and a whole new digital culture. But what secret decisions in its design set off this explosion of creativity, and why did its reign end so quickly? The blueprint behind the 80s Amiga 500 changed everything, but the real story starts inside its silicon core. Inside the Amiga 500, a Motorola 68000 processor runs at 7.14 MHz. This chip, with its 16-bit data bus and 32-bit instruction set, was a leap ahead of most home computers in 1987. It could address up to 16 megabytes of memory, an enormous range for the era, though the standard Amiga 500 shipped with 512 kilobytes of RAM. That memory became the workspace for everything: game logic, graphics data, music, and multitasking applications. Users could expand the RAM to a full megabyte with a simple trapdoor upgrade, or even further with third-party add-ons, unlocking more complex games and creative software. The Amiga's memory was divided into two types: chip RAM, accessible by both the CPU and the custom graphics and sound chips, and fast RAM, which only the CPU could use for high-speed tasks. This arrangement kept production costs down, but demanded careful juggling from programmers. The result was a system that balanced affordability with surprising horsepower, allowing for smooth scrolling, responsive controls, and the ability to run several programs at once, a rarity among home computers at the time. By offloading graphics and audio processing to dedicated chips, the 68000 was free to handle game rules, user input, and multitasking. This design let developers push boundaries, whether streaming data from floppy disks or running music trackers in the background. The Amiga 500's core specs set the stage for everything that followed, laying the groundwork for its legendary graphics and sound capabilities. Three custom chips, Agnes, Denise, and Paula, formed the heart of the Amiga 500's graphics and audio power. Agnes worked as the conductor, managing memory access and orchestrating data flow between the CPU and the rest of the system. Its secret weapons were the blitter, which could move and manipulate blocks of memory for rapid drawing, and the copper, a tiny coprocessor that could change graphic settings on the fly, even in the middle of a screen refresh. This allowed for tricks like split-screen effects, color gradients, and parallax scrolling that felt impossible on rival machines. Denise handled the visuals, turning raw data into images using a technique called planar bit planes. Instead of storing each pixel's color in one chunk, the Amiga split image data across several layers, letting it display up to 32 colors at once, or even 4096 in the special HAM mode. Hardware sprites could be layered over backgrounds, and the system could even juggle them mid-frame for more on-screen action than the specs suggested. Paula delivered 4 channels of 8-bit stereo sound, fetching audio directly from memory using DMA. Each channel could be placed anywhere in the stereo field, and the timing was precise enough for both digitized effects and music. By offloading these demanding tasks, the Amiga's main processor was left free to handle gameplay, logic, and multitasking. The result was smooth animation, rich soundtracks, and a level of fluidity that set the Amiga 500 apart from anything else in its class. Shadow of the Beast arrived on the Amiga 500 in 1989, instantly raising the bar for technical ambition. Psygnosis engineers layered 12 parallax backgrounds, each gliding at its own speed, creating a depth that felt almost three-dimensional. The Agnes chip's blitter and copper juggled massive graphics and shifted color palettes mid-frame, a spectacle unmatched by any home computer of the era. DMA Design's Lemmings took a different route, unleashing 100 independent creatures on screen, each following its own logic. The 68000 processor managed every Lemmings behavior in real time, while the blitter redrew the ever-changing landscape. This kind of crowd simulation was unprecedented, and the Amiga handled it with ease. The Secret of Monkey Island brought cinematic storytelling to the platform, stretching across 4 floppy disks. Its sprawling world and witty dialogue relied on clever memory management and disk streaming. The SCUMM engine balanced graphics, music, and branching puzzles, making disc swapping part of the adventure and delivering a narrative experience that rivaled anything on console or PC. Sensible Soccer delivered pure speed, running at a true 50 frames per second. Every player and ball movement synced perfectly with the PAL display, powered by blitter-driven sprite routines and precise vertical blank timing. The result was a game that felt impossibly smooth and responsive. Another World by Eric Chahi, stunned with rotoscoped vector cutscenes and fluid animation. The Amiga's custom chips rendered polygons and shifted palettes, blending gameplay and cinematic moments into a seamless whole. Worms turned the Amiga into a battlefield, with up to 4 players trading explosions that reshaped the terrain. Digitized battle cries and instant landscape updates brought multiplayer chaos to life. Cannon Fodder capped the showcase with digitized voices, real-time battlefields, and overlapping sound effects. Fast Blitting and Paula's stereo PCM channels gave every mission a sense of scale and urgency. Across Europe, bedrooms and basements became studios as the Amiga 500's floppy drive spun to life. A single 3.5-inch disc, holding just 880 kilobytes, could launch a world of sound and color. For a generation, the mechanical clatter of the drive was as familiar as a heartbeat. Loading a new demo or music track meant a ritual. Insert disc, wait for the whir, hope for no read error. The anticipation was part of the magic. On the Amiga, music wasn't just background noise, it was a playground for creativity. Thanks to tracker software like Pro Tracker, its grid-based interface let anyone craft songs by arranging digital samples into patterns. With 4 audio channels and precise stereo placement, even teenage hobbyists could make music that sounded professional. Chris Hulsbeck, whose early MOD tracks became legendary, once described the feeling, "Before Pro Tracker, you needed expensive kit to make music. On the Amiga, anyone could be a composer, and some of those MODs are iconic game themes now." The demo scene thrived on this sense of possibility. Groups like the Black Lotus pushed the Amiga beyond its specs, cramming full-screen animation and synchronized music into a standard A500. Their 1992 demo, State of the Art, streamed samples off disc, filled the screen with dancers, and left fans stunned. One coder recalled, "We bent every rule in the hardware manual. If the copper could change colors mid-line, we made it change every line." Swapping floppies and trading MODI files became a social ritual. Bulletin board systems buzzed with new releases, and the latest demo would travel from friend to friend, each disc carrying fingerprints and memories. A Dutch fan remembers, "When the drive whirred and loaded, you held your breath. It was magic and fragility in one click." The Amiga 500's legacy is more than technical specs. It's the sound of a tracker tune building, the click of a disc engaging, and the collective ownership of a platform shaped by its users. By 1990, the Amiga 500 had become a household name across Europe, with estimated sales reaching between 4 and 5 million units worldwide. The Batman pack alone sold over 186,000 bundles in the UK, flooding living rooms with new hardware and cementing the A500's reputation as the go-to gaming machine. Retailers struggled to keep shelves stocked, and developers rushed to meet the swelling demand for fresh titles. But as the install base soared, another market flourished in the shadows. Piracy networks powered by dial-up bulletin boards and a web of disc-swapping enthusiasts could circulate a cracked game within 24 hours of its retail debut. Police reports and trade group estimates from the era pointed to a thriving underground where nearly every major release found its way into circulation almost overnight. For every official sale, countless unauthorized copies changed hands, fueling both the Amiga's popularity and its most persistent headaches. Magnetic media was never built to last forever. Studies show that most 3.5-inch floppy disks begin to fail after 25 to 35 years, their magnetic layers slowly losing data to time. What archivists now call bit rot. For the Amiga 500's original library, this means every year lost is another game, demo, or MOD track at risk of vanishing. Across Europe, preservationists race to image aging discs before the data fades, sometimes rescuing unreleased demos or forgotten music in the nick of time. One archivist describes the process as a digital rescue mission. Every floppy is a ticking clock. In 2022, the A500 Mini arrived, preloaded with classics and built to revive the spirit of the original. An engineer from the project summed it up. "We wanted to keep the magic alive, not just for nostalgia, but so new generations can discover it fresh." By the early 1990s, over 4 million Amiga 500 units had been sold, making it Commodore's most successful model and a fixture in European homes. The A500's custom Agnes, Denise and Paula chips enabled groundbreaking graphics and sound, fueling both hit games like Lemmings and a thriving demo scene. Its 3.5-inch floppy disks and tracker music tools made creativity accessible to a generation. Yet some questions persist. Many original development documents remain unreleased, and the precise impact of piracy on software sales is still debated. As disk media age past their expected 35-year lifespan, the risk of losing unique games and demos has grown urgent. The 2022 launch of the A500 Mini and active preservation efforts now keep the Amiga legacy alive. The evidence is clear. The Amiga 500's influence on home computing and digital creativity is as real today as it was at launch.